to my channel, Simply Cooking with Shawn. Today is my debut video for my channel, and we will be preparing homemade cornbread. Here in the South where I live, it's wet and it's cold outside, so cornbread is always, I would say, a comfort food for the type of weather that we're having right now. So to get started, I'm going to let you know what you will need to prepare this recipe. You will need 2 cups of self-rising flour, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1 cup of yellow or white cornmeal, whichever you prefer, a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil or canola oil, 1/4 cup of buttermilk, 3/4 cup of milk, 1 stick of margarine, 2 sticks of salted or unsalted butter, and last but not least, 3 eggs. In order to mix this up, you're going to need a large mixing bowl, a wire whisk, a spatula, a bowl and a fork to crack your eggs in and mix it. And you will need dry measuring cups as well as a liquid measuring cup, and a 13 by 9 inch baking dish, or 10 by 12 will work as well. And I'm going to start with the baking dish. We're going to take our margarine and our butter, and we're just going to open them up and drop them right into the pan here. We're going to preheat our oven to 400, and we're going to go ahead and put this pan in the oven to melt the butter and margarine while we're getting the other ingredients prepared to mix our cornbread. Okay, so of the ingredients that I told you we were going to be using, for the milk and the buttermilk, we're going to use 3/4 cup of milk and a 1/4 cup of buttermilk. That is what is in the bowl here. I just went ahead and measured it out and poured in the milk and buttermilk in the same bowl. In regards to the sugar, we're going to use a 1/3 cup of sugar, and that is this right here. For our vegetable oil, we're using a 1/2 cup. I've gone ahead and measured that out, and that is what we have here. Okay. In regards to the eggs, we're using 3 eggs, and I'm going to go ahead and crack the eggs inside of this bowl. Now that we have our eggs cracked, whisk it up with the fork, and we're going to set that aside. Now we're going to measure in our cornmeal and our flour. Okay. So now we're going to add to the cornmeal and the flour, we're going to add our sugar that we measured out. So we're just going to pour that in. And we're going to take our whisk, and we're just going to whisk this all together. Now, I don't always put sugar in it. For today's recipe, I am. It just all depends on what I'm pairing it with. So it's just going to be an addition to a meal today for a side. So I added sugar to it. Okay. I will say though, if you are one that likes to add honey or syrup to on top of your cornbread when you eat it, I would suggest that you maybe omit the sugar or put a little less sugar than the 1/3 cup that I added here. Okay. So to this mixture, go ahead and put our eggs in. Our oil in. And our milk and buttermilk mixture. We're just going to pour that in. Okay. Now, just take your whisk once you've added that all in and just start going around and getting it incorporated in. And this is rather thick, okay? But don't worry. So as you see, it's rather thick, okay? But that's okay. All right, to this, we're going to add our margarine and butter that we've melted. So I'm going to grab that out of the oven, and then we'll add that in. This is really hot, so please be careful. And as you see here, before I add it in, I am just going to just kind of angle the pan to where the butter and margarine mixture kind of runs up toward the edge. And that's because I'm going to bake it in the same dish. And I won't have to spray it because I melted the butter and margarine in the same pan that I am going to bake it in. So we're going to add this to our batter here. Just pour it in. Okay, we'll set that off to the side. And we'll just go ahead and incorporate that into our mixture. Just like this. Just so you can see kind of what it's looking like. It looks like it's a lot, but just keep on mixing it, mixing it, mixing it. I'm just going to add just a splash more milk. That was probably about 2 tablespoons, and we're going to keep on mixing. That is well mixed, just so you see what it looks like once it's all incorporated and mixed together. It's kind of like the consistency of a cake batter. Maybe a little bit stiffer, a tad bit stiffer. So now we're going to take this mixture and we're just going to pour it into our baking dish. Please be careful because the dish may still be warm. Just like that. Just pour it in. Take your spatula to get it all in out of the bowl into the pan. All right, just take your spatula and just spread it evenly in the pan. And you're going to see some of the butter and the margarine that you left in the bottom of the pan. It didn't all quite come out. The majority of it came out, but just a tad bit of it was left in there, but that's okay. All right, so you just smooth it with your spatula. And then you will put this into your 400-degree oven for about 25-30 minutes. maybe checking at the 20-minute mark just to see how things are going. You want to bake it until it's nice and brown, and that you see the edges starting to get a little crusty and coming away from the side of the pan. At this point, it's been about 25 minutes or so. So we're going to go ahead and open the oven and see what our cornbread looks like. And I have with me a fork. So we're going to go ahead and open the oven, pull the wrap out. All right, we're going to slide it to the edge. Look at the steam coming from this cornbread. And this is what we want to see. We want to see it looking nice and brown. What I'm going to do, I'm going to touch the center of it. And it's quite firm. But just to be sure, I am going to take my fork and just insert my fork in the cracks. And it's coming out pretty good. Yeah, I think this is pretty much done. I'm probably going to push it in and maybe let it stay in for just one more minute or so, and then we'll take it out. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take it out after letting it go back in there for about another minute or so. And this is what we have. Just took it out of the oven. So I'm not going to wait for it to cool off. I'm just going to go ahead and cut a piece so you guys can see what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. And I'm going to flip the pan just up a little so you can just kind of see what the color looks like once it's finished, what it looks like on the bottom. Yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and cut this. Just going to go right in with the spatula. And I'm going to use my fork. And with the pan well oiled, it's going to lift right out of there. I'm just going to make sure I break it loose so it comes right up. Here we go. And that is what it looks like right out of the pan. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the plate to let you guys see how it looks right out of the oven, right after it's cut. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a taste. That, you guys, really, really tasty. It's nice and fluffy and light. Just enough sweetness. Just perfect. This came out very, very well. Look at that texture. Just a perfect texture. It is very moist. The perfect crust along the edge here. Just nice. Nice, light, fluffy. Very tasty. Very, very tasty. This is a really easy recipe. I encourage you to give it a try at home. I will leave a list of the ingredients and measurements in the description box below. If you do try this at home, please leave me a comment in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Until next time, be blessed.